Welcome to another episode of St. Louis Presents. I'm April Trupiano, and I have my guest co-host, Sarah Bernhardt. Thank you so much for playing with me today.
I'm happy to be back. It's always fun. You weren't here last time. We're going to talk about where you've been.
I know.
I've been with Rob, which has been quite a fun experience, I have to say. He's always a joy. Entertaining.
Rob is a treat. We miss you today, Rob, but he'll be back shortly. Well, today we have another fantastic show. We have a fantastic show for you guys. We're going to do some things differently today. We also have some great guests. We have Nancy Bauman, who is the owner of a publishing company. We're going to tell you about that in a minute. She does something very different than most publishers. And we also have Vicki Bennington, who is the author of A Life in Parts, which is a really unique story.
Really interesting story. I can't wait to talk to her about that.
Yes. So, and we're going to do something really different in the kitchen, right, Sarah?
We are bringing our April and my home family traditions to the kitchen, and we're going to show you some of our favorite family recipes later on in the show.
Yeah. So we're going to have some fun, and we'll be right back with more of St. Louis Presents. Welcome back. It just feels so weird. It feels like I've been gone forever.
Well, and I've been sitting in your seat, and where have you been? You've been gone for a long time.
Well, I actually have. And we had a holiday in there, but I have been working with clients. I had an international client, and it was great. I actually got a chance to spend some really great time just working with my clients out of town.
Yeah.
And
did you go someplace fun?
Well, I'll tell you this. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was actually, believe it or not, just outside of St. Louis. I was in Carthage, Missouri, near Joplin, and but I was working with this Italian company, and I was doing training in Italian, or excuse me, from Italian to English. It was the craziest thing. Like, who would have thought, right? In
Carthage, Missouri, right? Okay.
I didn't even know where Carthage was. I was like, Carthage? Yeah, I can be there. So, but what was really cool about it is that they had this Precious Moments Chapel there.
Right.
Have you ever been there?
I have not, but I've heard about it.
Oh my God, it was gorgeous. We got a chance to go inside. If you can, you'll see there, he actually has done something similar to the Sistine Chapel. And the author himself, or excuse me, the painter, the artist, he actually went in and was on his back, much like Michelangelo. He was on his back for over 500 hours doing that ceiling, and he did the walls, and it's a lot.
With Precious Moments characters.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I've heard about that. Well, that's neat. So you got to see that while you were out.
Yeah, and it was all ready for the holidays.
Yeah. Right.
So it was really fun.
And speaking in Italian, so you really got quite the cultural experience, it sounds like, while you were there. So back to the moment now, we are getting ready for the holidays, and I'm sure you're really busy, as I am at your home, getting things going. So what do you do on Christmas morning?
Oh my gosh, Christmas morning is a fight for just opening all the gifts. My family loves Christmas. They love to give gifts. They love to get gifts. It's literally a sea of wrapping paper. And we're all adult kids. But you would think that, that it's, all little toddlers there. Although we do have some young kids. And this will be the second Christmas for my two new nieces. And then my other niece and nephew are a little older, but, well, quite a bit older. So. Yeah, but it's fun. And then, of course, everybody waits for my mom to make breakfast. How about you? Because you have kids, too.
I have kids, and my kids are getting a little bit older, teenagers now, so it's not quite, we don't have to get up at 5 a.m. anymore, which is a good thing. They let us sleep in a little bit, but just the same, everybody's excited. They take their time, though. The kids are really good about taking turns opening gifts, making sure everybody has an opportunity. It's not the rush, wrapping paper going everywhere like it was 1010 years ago. So.
Like my crazy kids. I started to say kids. My crazy siblings who are still acting like little kids.
Calm in my house.
Nice.
It's more or less. It's not always that way, but it's fun. And we have a lot of fun too with the White Elephant Christmas gift exchange. So we play that game. A lot of families do that. So
what's the craziest white elephant gift?
Oh goodness, it's usually something that somebody, some food from last year. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh.
So we've got a great guest. We want to
Yes.
forget our family traditions. Let's go into the show today. We've got some really neat people to talk to.
Yeah.
So Nancy's up first.
Nancy's going to be here in just a sec. Yeah. Nancy Bauman, who is the owner, as I said earlier, of Stone Brick Publishing. And I really love what her twist on the books that she publishes and the authors that she works with. So I'm excited.
And Nancy, welcome to SDL, St. Louis Presents.
Yes.
And here we are, again, to talk to you about everything that you've got going on in your publishing world today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I've got a little bit of a cold here, but we'll
it
push
sounds
through
sexy.
that. Yes.
That's okay. It's sexy.
I know, sometimes I like my voice better like this.
Yeah, you're fine.
So you, as I said before, you have a different twist on the authors that you work with. And tell us your mission statement, because I love it.
I do, and thanks for asking, because as with any other business, you kind of define your niche, and mine is strictly nonfiction, and I only work with authors and works that will either save lives, change lives, or transform society. Yeah. And that's kind of my mission in life, is to help people get these books out that will impact society in a positive way. So we're making a difference. Our tagline is publishing with a purpose.
So how long have you been in business?
Yeah, I've been in the publishing business about 4 years, and we put a couple of really excellent products out. So I'm really anxious for you to talk about our most recent release, as well as talking to Vicki.
Yeah.
So where are your manuscripts coming from?
Well, they come from all over, and they come through, the website. People have a submission process on a Stone Brick Publishing website. So people will submit their manuscripts, and then, we'll review them and have some pretty strict criteria, actually, as far as what we'll publish. They definitely have to have a purpose to them. People have come to me and they've said, oh, I've got this fabulous business book, and I'll make $1 million doing it, which I think is really great, but it really needs to fit that criteria of either saving lives, changing lives, or transforming society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've really defined a special market there. What I love about it is that you work with people that, what you had said before, that they have a story to tell. And we all have a story to tell in some way. But you have a special gift for helping them get that story out, right?
Well, I think I do. I've worked with a lot of people, and a lot of times one of the frustrations for me has been that I have gotten a lot of submissions that there is a little seed of that great story in there, but people who are writing nonfiction, they're not writers. They live life. They're out doing things. They'll experience something, or they'll gain some kind of a knowledge, or come through something that they want to share with other people. But when they try to get it down in a manuscript format, it really isn't something that I could publish. So I still felt a responsibility to this mission to get these works out. So I kind of combined some of my work skills to make that possible for more people.
So the skills you're talking about, you're a professor, a writing professor.
Right, I'm an adjunct professor of writing at Lindenwood University and a professional publisher, so I know what publishers want. I know what they want. And I can also teach people to get there.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. And she says, when you were saying about nonfiction writers are not really trained to be writers. I never thought about that, but they're writing from their own experiences, and they feel like they have something to share.
And they do have something to share. And here's the thing: is that they're the only one that can do it. They may have gone through something with an illness, or come through something in a unique way, and what they have this compelling, like burning desire to help other people come through the same thing. And the best way to do that is in written format, because then you can broadcast it out to an audience that you may not even know all the people that you're reaching. However, nobody's going to read a book or purchase a book that's not well written. And so that's where I kind of come in and try to help shore up those writing skills and take them from the point, from their concept all the way through to the cover to get a book out.
So how do you do that? What are the steps that you take? And you have some sort of a program that you take the authors
I do.
through?
It's called Get My Book Out, and that's not the program that, there was no program for this professional publishing, but this is a program that I designed that combines my skills as a university professor and a professional publisher. So the first step is always the foundation building. People need to know You know, a lot of times people don't know how to start a book. I mean, I think that's pretty common. If you've never written one, how do you do it? So you start with the foundation, and I have a series of really compelling questions that will help people define what their actual purpose is. I mean, you need to know, why are you writing this book? What's different about it than anything else on the market, you know, in that genre and in your particular topic? And what are your research components that you need to add into? So what we do is we go through a whole series of foundation laying that will give them what we call a book map that they can write to. One of the things, you know, we try to define at the beginning is, hey, who do you want to endorse your book?
Oh, yeah.
And then guess what you do? You write a book that that person would endorse. For example, I'm working with an author now, and we'd really like to have Dr. Phil endorse the book. Well, if we don't write a book that Dr. Phil will endorse, we're never going to get that. And I also have people ask me questions like, well, should I put down who I think I can get or who I really want? And I'm like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. You want to put down your failure goal and then your stretch goal?
Yeah.
No, who do you want? And then let's write that book that will appeal to that person, and they'll give you their stamp of approval.
So have you been successful in getting those kinds of endorsements?
Yes, we have. In fact, I'm going to flip back to the professional publishing from Stonebrook Publishing, our book, A Life in Parts. We actually got back cover endorsements from Sir Paul McCartney and from Cindy Crawford. And I'm like, I feel like I, you know, got the big kahuna there. You know, I'm really proud of those.
That really lends a lot of credibility.
Well, it does. And Loretta, who's in that book, was personally acquainted with Paul McCartney. He was part of her recovery. But Cindy Crawford was not, and she became acquainted with her through a relative that later, and we wrote to her and asked her if she would endorse it, and she wrote this beautiful endorsement. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So you actually can take them from just jotting down a few memories or jotting down a few thoughts all the way through the process of getting endorsed by people like Sir Paul McCartney and Cindy Crawford, and getting the book out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like from the concept to the cover. And there's 3 modules to this Get My Book Out program. One is, and it takes about a year, which is a reasonable amount of time to write a book.
But I just, you know, nothing inspires more than a story of survival, a story, you know, no matter what the situation is. So thank you. Thank you for doing that.
So viewers who would like to talk to you more about this program you have can reach you via your website?
Yes, and that website is thebookprofessor.com.
Okay.
And then there's a link across the top that says Write Your Book Now, and they can click on that and get more information.
Thebookprofessor.com.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
good.
you.
Nancy, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so coming right up, we're going to be right back with Vicki Bennington. Yay!
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Experience St. Louis.
Can you consent with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read.
So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child.
So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time.
One book can be the finest element, helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Louis Presents. We were just speaking with Nancy Bauman from Stonebrook Publishing, and we are so excited that now we have Vicki Bennington here, who is you worked with Nancy in Stonebrook to publish your book, and you're a professional writer who came to Nancy a while ago with a great story, a book, and you were not part of her book program because you are a professional writer who had a story already, a manuscript in process.
Yes.
So a great
But
book.
your book fits the niche, right?
It
totally
does.
fits the niche.
Absolutely.
Book with
Inspires,
a purpose.
changes lives. Holy cow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the book.
A life in parts.
Well, it's about an incredible woman, Loretta Goebel. She went through a life-changing experience, which is the first part of the story, but the real story is how she responded to it. She is so inspiring. When I first met her, I was writing a feature article for one of the local newspapers about her. Wrote the article. I got so many phone calls and emails from people, you know, talking about how inspiring her story was, and I just couldn't quit thinking about her.
So Loretta she's from the Metro St. Louis area, Illinois.
Originally, yes. Originally from Shipman, Illinois, a little town of 500. And she was living in Chicago in 2001. She hit her hand while going to answer the door. Just a regular household injury
So
that
bumped her hand.
right, that we all do all the time.
Exactly.
Didn't think much of it. Later on, she started having flu symptoms. Within a few days, her arm was hurting so bad that she went to the emergency room in the middle of the night. They thought it was just an infection at the time, sent her home. That evening, she ended up passed out. Her husband came home from church to find her near death, really, and they took her back to the emergency room, and she ended up on life support, not expected to live.
So what happened?
Well, as it turned out, they traced it back that when she hit her hand, she had a small crack in her thumb, and it drove a strep germ into her bloodstream,
Wow.
which ended up going into strep toxic shock. And the medicine that they had to give her to save her life pressurized her organs, but it cut off circulation to her limbs. So she ended up having to have both of her legs, her left hand, and most of the fingers on her right hand amputated.
Wow. And you were saying that one of the things that you guys were really touched by was, like, that's all she has left is that one thumb. And that's like her symbol, right? Her little mantra.
Yeah, ironically,
Thumbs up, right?
that's what she hit, and that's all that she has left
Yeah.
on her right hand. So yeah, and she also, as she was being taken to be put on life support, she gave her husband a thumbs up. He said, "Fight for your life," and she gave him. So yes, it has many, many significant meanings for her.
And you turned it into a movement.
Yes, so we've started a movement. Out of the darkness, there's a shimmer of hope. So we want everyone to join us in painting their fingernail.
So your thumbnail is painted different from the rest of your hand. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And it's
yes.
part black, and then it's got the silver
The
at the
fringe
top.
tip silver, yes.
Nice.
Yes. So then you're out to dinner, you're shopping, whatever, and people ask you about it, and you get a chance to pass on her message of hope. Yeah.
Wow.
So Loretta, a beautiful, beautiful woman.
Oh, she's
gorgeous.
beautiful. Yes.
And she was living just a regular, perfect life.
Right.
She had a husband, she had these young children, and then this traumatic experience happened.
Right.
That it could happen to anybody.
It could, and I think that's another reason that it really touched me. You know, she wasn't living life on the edge. You know, she was wrapping Christmas presents in her basement, and the doorbell rang. And the next thing you know, she finds herself in this position. And the way she responded to it, she had a deep faith in God, and she must have had just a really strong fortitude about her that she could say, hey, I need to be a wife and a mother, and I want my life back. And so she picked herself up and went on with her life. And she's amazing. She really is.
I think that's what surprised me the most is that, you know, you see a woman who's that beautiful, you know, and if you guys get the book, you'll see she's just gorgeous. And to be disfigured in such a way, like thank goodness her face is intact, but obviously, I mean, with no hands and no legs.
Right.
And that is such a disfiguration that I think that a lot of people would have fallen prey to self-pity.
Oh,
and
I think so.
What you're saying is that she really went beyond that to say, but there's a bigger purpose to my life here.
Right, right. And while she was recovering, she had the opportunity to meet Heather Mills McCartney, who is also an amputee. And Loretta did not know an amputee before that, and Heather had received an email through someone from Loretta's church, had sent an email just saying, will you say a prayer for her, or send an encouraging email. Well, Heather picked up the phone, which she did not have to do, and called and gave Loretta encouragement and a vision that you can still be an attractive woman. She was engaged to Paul McCartney at the time, for goodness sake. So the last line of the book is Loretta saying, I want to be someone else's Heather.
Wow.
So she wants to make a difference
So
for other
how
people.
is she doing that?
She's now launched a public speaking career, and also through the book, people that we've met, through book signings, through different events that we've had, they are so inspired by her. And you certainly don't have to be an amputee or even someone with a particular problem. Just everyday people can look at her and say, gosh, if she can have that attitude with what she has to deal with, I can.
Exactly. It makes having a blemish before you have to get on camera so insignificant.
It does.
I mean, really. We have those days, and I'm serious.
It does, yeah.
I'm not making
You think
fun.
about
You think
somebody
about
like
that, and you get
Loretta.
really upset, like, oh, how am I going to cover this?
Yeah,
Or,
I know.
I'm having a bad hair day, and someone like her that has to put on a hand and put on legs and really deal with that. Let me ask you, how can people get a hold of the book? Because I would really love it. It's a perfect Christmas gift. And as you're saying, she was wrapping Christmas gifts. That was the start of her story, which could have gone one way and instead went in a whole nother direction. So how can they how can they get hold of the book?
It's available at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, lifeandparts.com, wherever books are sold.
Excellent.
And the book just came out a couple months ago.
October 9th, we had a book launch in downtown.
Yeah, and we love that there are questions for book clubs, study groups, so you can use your book club, and it's a great way to start the new year.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Vicki, thank you so much to you
thank
and
you.
your co-author. We should mention Danielle Brannon.
Right.
So thank you to the two of you for writing such a gorgeous story.
Oh, thank you for having us.
All right. Well, we are going to head into the kitchen.
All right, so you're welcome to stick around and taste what we're going to create.
Yes, we're going to go play in the kitchen.
We're going to show some of our family favorites. So here we go.
All right.
All right, here we go. So what do we got for us today, Miss April?
Well, you know what? We were looking for what's something simple, and because, one of the traditions I think around the holidays is to involve the kids.
Right.
Involve the kids in wrapping presents and picking out presents and doing cards, decorations, but also in cooking.
Right.
And with this new, well, I don't know, it's not so new anymore, but this rage of cake pops, it's so simple.
It's still new to me.
Yeah, I know, right?
I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. Look, all you need is...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things I love about cake pops is it's a little piece of cake. So it's perfect at this time of year. You don't have to have all those extra calories that we're all getting.
Yeah.
So
the most time-consuming part of it really is baking the cake. Now, we took a shortcut here today, and we actually got chocolate muffins, because the key is that you just want to have something that's fresh and something that's moist. And then, excuse me, you can bake your own cake. And for those of us like me who have to deal with being gluten-free, you can also bake, a nice gluten-free cake. Then you want to crumble it. Again, the key is to crumble it fine, because you're going to have to make this into some amalgamated sort of mixture here. So, again, I'm giving shortcuts for the super moms out there who have to do it all and get it all done in a very short period of time.
we love shortcuts.
Yes, we love shortcuts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this ready-made frosting.
Okay.
You can also use a variation and do cream cheese. That works really well when you do like a red velvet cake, or if you do a...
So would you use like the whipped cream cheese or the flavored?
Yes, I would do a whipped cream cheese. I would definitely recommend that. Or I would do, like I said, any kind of frosting. And then you just want to start mixing that. Now, I have the spoon, and I know that looks a whole lot better, but the truth of it is, this really works better with your hands. And I did wash those before we started. And you really just want to make sure that you get this
all mixed together. So you've got the icing that's kind of holding together all the
Yes. And you can see why kids love this.
Oh, yeah.
Kids absolutely love this
fun.
because they get to play in this and really mix it up here. Now, once you get this all amalgamated, then what you want to do is you want to start forming it into little pops. So, of pop shapes, right? You want to form them into little balls.
This is so easy.
This is
I
it.
had no idea.
Girl, this is it. This is
Yeah.
all you have to do. You just have to make sure that it's, you know, really, really moist and form it into a size that, whatever size you want to serve. Right there, just like that.
Look at
so
that.
So that's it. And then you set those out there.
And then you're going to need your little sticks.
And then you need your sticks at some point. Now, here's a little trick. My sister-in-law, shout out to my sister-in-law, Sonia, whom I adore. She taught me this little trick because she said otherwise what will happen is these pops will come off, right? I mean, the pops will fall apart. So I'm going to head right over. Let me just use this here. We've got to consolidate here. Let me head right over to the freezer.
So.
All right,
see what she's got here.
Coming up. I know I had to do a little trick
go.
here. Pull them out of the freezer. So you get these things ready. Now, otherwise, these pops will fall apart when you're trying to put the sticks in.
So you make the pops, and then you put them in the freezer. This is part of what we're supposed to do. How long do they stay in the freezer?
Stay in the freezer for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Now, and then you can either dip this in your melted chocolate, or you can even dip it in your frosting, and you stick it right in there.
Look at that.
Look at that. Then what you want to do is take your chocolate, melt it, dip it in there, kind of dip it around, right? You guys, these aren't going to be quite as pretty this morning, but you get the picture, right? And that's that. And then you can dip it in.
So melted chocolate, you used white chocolate, but you can
white chocolate
use any kind of chocolate.
because I wanted to be able
to
put them into like that.
Okay, that is
there you
adorable.
go.
How cute.
There you go. See? There you go.
That is lovely.
All done.
Okay, so while I'm protecting my manicure over here.
Yeah, I know, right?
And we have the kids, if there were kids here, they would be putting their hands in there getting messy. I'm working on the rum eggnog. And so in my family, my dad makes the best eggnog. And I'm totally going to take the shortcut approach. He does it all homemade with the eggs and the whipping the cream and the whole thing, and it's a ton of calories, but it's super good, and we all love it, and we don't even care.
The best things are, right?
I mean, it is good. It's like you're eating like all your calories before you've even started your breakfast. So anyway, doesn't matter. We're going to go a little bit healthier today with some soy eggnog. Simple. You just are going to mix your eggnog. It can be right out of the dairy department. You don't have to do homemade like my dad. So we're going to do the eggnog. You're going to get your favorite rum. You're going to do whatever quantity. We're going to go about 1/3 rum and 2/3 eggnog. And then you get your homemade whipped cream, which we've already whipped, but you're going to do it the right way. Put your beaters and your bowl in the freezer, get it nice and cold, then whip up your fresh cream without sugar. You don't need the sugar because you've got it in the eggnog. You add it all together, mix it together. You got to have the whipped cream because it adds lots of great flavor. And mix it up together, makes it nice and thick, and then you've got your eggnog. So
that is looking so good. I've never seen it done with whipped cream.
Yep.
And I know that we always have lots of people at our house that love eggnog, and I have never made it. I've never been a big fan.
Eggnog, rum, whipped cream, you've got your cake pops. We've got a great holiday tradition going over here in our kitchen.
Excellent. Are you going to pour up some of that, and we'll have some cake pops and eggnog?
We're going to pour it right now, and we are going to wish all of our viewers a wonderful holiday season.
Happy holiday, and don't forget to check us out on Facebook and check us out on Twitter at STLTV channel? Yes.
STLTV.net, STLTV channel on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere. A little nutmeg on top.
Yay.
And you can go ahead and try that. It might be a little heavy on the rum, but that's quite all right. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, right? Just like at home.
See you next time.
Thanks for joining us.